Thank you so much for that warm welcome. It reminds me when I was at the Olympics and I did that little dance after my jump. That kind of enthusiasm always makes me want to dance again. Surprisingly, Dancing with the Stars did not ask me to come on the show. But luckily, 5 Star did ask if I would come here and join you, and they asked if I would inject you some Olympic-style inspiration. So my goal by my end of my talk is to have you all on your feet cheering with excitement. And no good Olympic-style performance starts without an audience wave. As we stand up, throw our arms in the air, and we have a ripple effect across the room. So are you ready? On my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not exactly as I envisioned it. But maybe we'll have a little better luck with a trivia question. And the prize I have is a Nikki Stone Olympic gold medal pin. These came off the press in 2002. I gave the first 2 to my parents. My father took his, went to a pin trading booth, and traded it for $100. So I hope if you win the trivia question, you'll actually want to keep your pin. And the trivia question is, this next winter, the Olympics are coming to Vancouver. So to get you ready for ticket sales, what was the first sport to sell out in the last 3 Winter Olympic Games? Show of hands. First sport to sell out the last 3 Winter Olympic Games. Luge, no. Hockey, no. Figure skating, no. Aerial skiing, who said that? Come on up and get your pin. Congratulations. A lot of people think it is figure skating or hockey, and my friends assure me it's because the sport is so exhilarating that people want to see aerials, but I know deep down that they want to see if we're crazy or not, am I right? Well, you may be asking yourselves, what do I have in common with an Olympic gold medalist? Never mind someone who is crazy enough to send herself flipping and twisting 50 feet into the air. And actually, we have a lot in common. We're both striving for excellence. We all want to go out there and be the best at what we do. We just have different paths that we're following, but there are a lot of key elements that are the same along the way to get to that end point. So how do we reach these goals that we're striving for? Well, let me first say that everything I share with you today is heartfelt and genuine, and I can't promise you that I can sprinkle some magical words over you and you can go out there and reach anything you've ever dreamt of, because that depends on what you do when you walk out those doors. But what I will promise you is an incredible philosophy that will help put you on that right path. And that philosophy was taught to me by my mother when I was a very young girl, and she called it the turtle effect. She said, in order to be successful, you have to be soft on the inside, you have to have a hard shell, and you have to be willing to stick your neck out. I realized in order to be soft on the inside, I needed passion for what I did. In order to have a hard shell, I needed focus, commitment, and the ability to overcome adversity. In order to stick my neck out, I needed confidence, I needed risk, and I needed the teamwork to make sure I followed through. So today I'd like to carry you through how I use the turtle effect throughout my career, and along the way give you tools to make sure that you can reach your turtle effect as well. Due to the limited time, I'm going to focus on the areas that I think are most instrumental in helping you reach those goals. Well, when I was very little, I saw Nadia Comaneci score a perfect 10 in gymnastics, and that passion and soft inside started quickly. I ran into my living room, put some tables and chairs together, and built my own Olympic podium. I told my parents I'm going to win the Olympics someday. And through my years as a young gymnast, I learned about the thrill of competition. But it wasn't until I was 18 years old and was invited to Lake Placid, New York to try aerial skiing that I found my true passion. Well, for someone who is afraid of heights, you could imagine the third day ever that they tell you you're going to go off the double jump. It was terrifying because we go 35 feet in the air off the doubles, 2 times over in the air. And as you're standing up top, looking down at this jump, it really does look like a wall is in front of you. Well, my stomach was up in my throat, my hands were sweating, and I didn't know if my legs were going to stop shaking long enough to actually get me off this jump. But I looked around the whole facility, and all the other athletes had stopped to see if the rookie was going to go off the jump. Well, luckily for my career, my ego was a lot bigger than my brain. So I turned down this jump, went whipping 30 miles an hour into the 10-foot-tall wall that launches us 35 feet in the air, flipped over twice, and landed with a splash. It was exhilarating. I had found my passion. But that passion isn't always there every day. We have to make sure that we rejuvenate that passion. There's always that one thing we don't want to do in a day, that one call we don't want to make, the one conference that we don't want to attend. And I found if I did these things first thing in the morning, then I wouldn't have to dwell on it the rest of the day. I could focus on what I was doing my entire day. With this newfound passion, I qualified for my first Olympic Games in 1994, thought I would bring home that Olympic shiny medal, But I was so focused on the outcome that I forgot the whole process in order to get me to that end medal. So I just missed finals by less than a point. And I learned to start building that hard shell. But I had to make sure that I was continuing to build the hard shell, and I found out the most important layer was that ability to overcome adversities. We all have those adversities. Well, that adversity came for me in 1996, 2 years before the next Winter Olympic Games. And as I was jumping throughout the year, I found myself in second place quite a bit behind a girl named Veronica Brenner. Veronica was first in the world, but we got to a contest in Oberjoch, Germany, and Veronica didn't make finals. So it was my chance to be able to pull ahead of her. But also as that year was progressing, I was feeling some pain in my lower back from a muscle spasm that wouldn't go away. I got up for the morning of finals in Germany, and I was in a lot of pain, but I realized I just had to get through my training and contest jumps. I got ready for my first training jump, went down the hill, and when I hit the top of the jump, it felt like someone came up and stabbed me in my lower back. I got around, finished my trick, landed it, skied to the bottom of the hill, and I collapsed. I found that I couldn't bend forward in order to stand up. Our physical therapist came over to me and said, "Nikki, I see the muscle spasms back, but we only have 5 minutes left of training. What do you want to do?" I looked him straight in the eyes and I said, "I want to jump." He literally had to pick me up onto my feet. I went back to the top of the hill, and this time with tears streaming down my face, I took another jump. When I hit the apex of the jump this time, it felt like I had 10 knives stabbing me in my lower back. And it's the type of pain that would normally drop someone to their knees. And I was 30 feet in the air, upside down. Somehow, when your life's in jeopardy, your body goes into autopilot. And I managed to get around to my feet, but collapsed right on impact, slid to the bottom of the hill, and found that I couldn't move more than 2 inches in any direction. I went home and saw numerous doctors. And each of the doctors told me it wasn't a muscle spasm, but something called internal disc disruption. They said you basically scrambled the inside of 2 of the discs in your back, and it's leaking fluids, and these discs will not go back to their original shape. I tried every exercise and procedure possible because these doctors told me, and each one of 10 different doctors told me this, that I would never do aerials again. In all likelihood, I'd never ski again. So I tried acupuncture, massage therapy, physical therapy. I had a chair that would stretch out my spine. I would go up and I would make sure that I was doing exercises every day. I had 3 injections put into my spine. I even went to the point where they were going to burn the nerves in my back so I wouldn't feel the pain anymore. Every day seemed worse than the day before. And I started to fall into a deep depression because I couldn't sit for more than half an hour and I couldn't stand for more than 15 minutes. It was depressing. And everyone started wondering if I'd ever pull out of this funk. After crying for about 8 months, literally every day straight, I was flipping through a magazine and I came across a picture of a man named Joe Frazier. Now, many of you know Joe Frazier won a gold medal in the Olympics in boxing in 1964. But what you might not know is that he did it with a broken fist. And I figured this man needs his fist for boxing as much as I need my back for jumping. And if he could come back, why couldn't I? And I had a renewed fire to go start looking for doctors again, and I finally found a doctor in Boston, Massachusetts, who told me I could come back from this injury. He told me it was going to take a lot of work, it was going to be a big risk, and it was going to be incredibly painful, but I could come back. And he was right. I had to learn to build up the muscles in my back to support those injured discs by lifting heavy weights. But I could blow out those discs completely in the process. It was worth the risk, but it was also very painful. And one thing that helped me get through it was a quote by General George S. Patton that says, "Success is how high you bounce after you hit rock bottom." And I asked myself, and I ask you, if success is how high you bounce after you hit rock bottom, do you want to have a soft outer shell? Or do you want a hard outer shell? And every day I'd go to the gym and I'd be in that excruciating pain. I'd bring a super ball with me. And I'd bounce my super ball and remind myself to have that hard outer shell because no obstacle was too big to overcome. We all have these obstacles and we have to ask ourselves, are we going to be soft when it hits us or are we going to be hard? And we have to be reminded that these obstacles are able to pass. There are detours and there are ways around. Well, I came back 1 year before the Olympic Games and realized the rest of the world didn't wait while Nikki Stone was injured. I had to build up my confidence to be able to do more difficult jumps going into the next Olympics. And I qualified for the next Olympics in 1998. And I had this confidence, but it didn't mean that the pressure wasn't there. When I got to the Olympics, I realized that there's still a lot of people hoping Nikki Stone would bring home an Olympic medal. Well, let me tell you about that pressure. You have one shot to be able to win an Olympic medal. If you don't win, you have another 4 years you have to wait. And because of my spinal injury, I didn't have another 4 years. This was my last shot. So I went out and I got ready, and to give you a visual on how intense that pressure is, I have to take a night guard because I grind my teeth at night. They gave me that night guard 1 month before the Olympic Games. I ground through it in 1 month. They gave me another night guard a month after the Olympics. I've had it ever since. 11 years now. And that's the type of pressure you feel in the games. Luckily, I had the experience of my first Olympics, so I was able to get through semifinals this time. But when I got ready for finals, the wind had picked up and it was blustering outside. Well, I had to calm myself down and get ready for the jumps and go through what I knew. So as I got to the top of the hill, with the wind blowing, I realized I had to get into a tuck as I went into my jump so the wind wouldn't slow me up going into this jump. I went down the hill, off the jump, did 2 flips, 3 full twists, landed it, and found myself in first place after the first round. Well, I knew it took 2 jumps, so I couldn't start celebrating yet, and I went back to the top of the hill, and my assistant coach was standing up top. And he said, "Okay, Nikki, we have 2 options. You can go for a jump that's a little easier, you know how to land it, and it'll put you on the podium, or you can go for that triple backflip, flipping you 50 feet in the air. You've only landed about 15% of them this year, but if you land it, you have a much better chance of winning." It didn't take me long to think about it, and I remembered a quote by my grandmother that said, "You have to make sure that you go out there, and success only goes to the best. The brave do not live forever, but the cautious do not live at all." And I had to ask myself, do you want to be cautious, or do you want to go out there and live your life? And we all have those moments where we have to ask ourselves, are you going to be cautious? Are you going to sit inside the box? Or are you going to go out there and dazzle people? And I decided to go out there, stick my neck out, and take that risk. I got ready for my jump, and the wind had picked up, gusting up to 40 miles an hour. I had 3 minutes between when they said the judges are ready, and I actually had to take my jump. Well, finally, as I sat there, I said to myself, block out the 40,000 people at the bottom of the hill, block out the fact that the flags were blowing as hard as they could, and block out the fact that there's a camera 6 inches from my face that I swore could see my heart pounding out of my chest. My coach gave me the clear sign and said, "Get ready to go. We got to go on that second's notice." So I pushed off to take my jump, got into a tuck, let the wind whip over my head, stood up before the jump, threw my arms in the air, did a straight body flip, then pulled my knees into a tuck for the second flip, elongated my body, did a full twist on the last flip, reached for the landing, and I had gone so fast into this jump and so high in the air that on landing, the impact caused my knees to accordion into my chest, and I felt like a grand piano had landed on my shoulders. And I had to use all the strength in my legs and back to stand back up to ski down the hill. And then that's when the dance came in. I rushed over to my then boyfriend, now husband, threw my arms around him, and I whispered in his ear, "I did it, I did it, I did it." A reporter overheard me and asked, did I did it mean I won the Olympic Games? I didn't know I was the only woman doing triples because of the wind. I didn't know what kind of lead I had. I did it meant that I came out here and did the best that I could do. I did it meant that I proved 10 different doctors wrong. I did it meant that I accomplished my goals. And one by one, the other girls finished their jumps, and they were streaming with excitement. The last girl landed her jump. I rushed over to give her a hug, but sure to keep my head peeking around a corner so I could keep seeing my name on the scoreboard. And it finally flashed next to her name, Nan Nanju, rank 2nd. And that evening, I got to put that Olympic medal around my neck that I'd dreamt about since I was 5 years old. And I really think that I made that freckle-faced, pigtailed girl proud. And I couldn't help but have the tears well up in my eyes because I was holding the object that I'd dreamt of for 22 years. Well, I do have that medal in my grasp, and I did stand on top of that podium alone, but no one gets to the top alone. We all need an incredible support system. And the top of my pyramid of support were my parents. And I'd like to turn now to a clip from the Olympic Games, and you can tell me if I'm the only one who won that gold medal or if there's someone else who experienced it right along with me.
A lot of times at these huge Olympic competitions, those closest to the athletes, the family members and friends, can't get close enough to the action. But in the case of Nikki Stone's parents, Nancy and Dick, they've chosen to be anonymous, lost in a sea of people and also lost in a bundle of nerves. Thoughts as that big moment approaches and she's standing up there?
I have to decide whether I want to watch or not, or whether I just hide my head.
The skiers get only 2 chances to jump, and with high winds on the course causing the 2 athletes just before Nikki to postpone their jumps, Dick and Nancy were understandably tense. Nancy got so wound up watching her daughter that she had to leave her seat. And then came the first jump.
Nikki Stone, her first jump, she chooses a triple twisting, double back somersault. Not an easy trick. Not many of the women do this trick. She'll be doing 2 flips with 3 revolutions. Off the jump, she comes a full twist and wraps up the double full and nails it. This is very nice, nailing her first jump. That's what she needs to do. A little pressure is off her shoulders right now. Nikki Stone very happy. That's what the judges like to see there. Really nice form, a 98.15. That is a fantastic first jump, and Nikki Stone is in the lead.
Nikki's score of 98.15 was the best of the first round. She needed only to land her second jump in order to medal, a fact that in no way lessened the pressure on her parents.
Nikki Stone on her second jump, choosing a lay tuck full, a single twisting triple back somersault. Watch the separation here, a lay, tuck, full. That's what the judges like to see, and she hits it. That's exactly what she needed to do, put that on her feet. That could wrap up a gold medal for Nikki Stone. No American has ever medaled in the freestyle event of inverted aerials, much less a gold medal. We'll see what the judges think here about Nikki Stone's jump, 193.00. She's in first place.
The Stones made their way down to see their daughter, knowing she was assured of at least a silver medal. But the last jumper to compete was also the one with the best chance to overtake Nikki's score, China's Nan Zhu.
Nan Zhu can do it. She's done that score before.
We'll sit back, watch this final competitor, and try to enjoy it.
Nan Zhu needs a huge jump here to pull ahead of Nikki Stone. She needs to hit next to a flawless jump. She chooses a double twisting double, flawless in the air, a little back on the landing. She may not have overcome Nikki Stone's score. That landing may have cost her the gold.
When the scores came in, the results were easy to decipher by Dick and Nancy's reaction.
What can you possibly be going through right now? I'm just thinking of the American flag raising and the anthem playing for her. I'm going to lose it on that one.
Nancy.
You don't believe it, huh?
Thank you. Well, if you're watching my mom, you see where I got that windmill dance going on. But you also can see where I got the support. I had incredible support working for me, and we all have that kind of support system, and we have to make sure we take advantage of it. You have incredible networking here, and I think you should go out there and make sure that you're exchanging information with each other. And to kick that off, I want to give you all some information that I'd love to leave you with so that you can maintain a lot of that motivation. And so I've given everyone a sheet with the tools of the turtle effect. I have a super ball for everyone, so you can remind yourself to have that hard shell. And I have a bookmark with the points of the turtle effect on the front of it, and on the back of it's my contact information, so we can make sure that we're building our turtle effects together. But I really urge you, if you're looking to contact me for bookings, make sure you reach out to 5-Star. Lastly, I will have a book coming out this fall called When Turtle Fly, and it will have 40 inspirational stories from all sorts of celebrities that will share their turtle effects so that you have soft insides, hard shells, and find different ways to stick your neck out. And I am confident that this group is going to be successful, and I'm so confident that we're going to try that audience wave one more time. And this time we'll start on this side of the room. Throw your hands in the air, but don't stand up till the person next to you is about halfway up, and I want to hear a cheer out of you this time. On my count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, congratulations. And as I promised, by the end of my talk, I'd have you on your feet cheering with excitement. Congratulations. I hope you too find whatever your gold medal may be.